Okay, so some of you have requested, you wanted to see how I did coffee dyeing of my papers. And I didn't make this up. I learned it from YouTube. You can Google it. Just coffee dyeing papers or dyeing papers. But I'll do a tutorial for you on how I did it. I couldn't tell you what videos I ever watched. It was a long time ago, but. Alright, so let me get started. First of all, I'll tell you what you need. I just use regular copy paper. This one is from Office Max, or you can get it at Walmart. That's the brand. It's just regular paper that goes in your printer. And then I get an old container. You can see this one's pretty stained up from a coffee, and I don't even use this for anything but junk anymore. But, so I get a container that fits like an 8.5 by 11 size paper. This morning's coffee that didn't get finished. You don't need that much. Just gonna pour it in here. Some cookie sheets. And I use the iron and the ironing board. You don't have to. I just like to iron my papers out. You can, if you don't want to iron them, you can put them just in a, a hard book on top of them. It just kind of flattens them out a little bit. Alright, so, and then you of course need the oven, which I have preheated. You can do like 250 to keep it warm, but I like to rush it, so I do crank it up to 400. I stand in here. I don't recommend leaving paper in the oven and go unattended if you're at higher than like 300, because I don't really think it'll catch on fire, but you never know. Alright, so let me try to set up this tripod for you and kind of see. Oh, one thing, my pans have Food Network on them. My pans are well used. They're clean. I assure you they're clean. They're just old and stained. But they have the Food Network label on them. And if you don't want that, cover it up, because if you lay your papers on here too dry, that does get on some of my pages. But I don't really mind it because it's actually kind of cool. So yeah. So don't do that. But anyways, okay, so all I'm going to do is take this old coffee. It's cold. I'm going to pour it all in this. Pour it in there. There's not very much. There was only like 6 on the 6 cup mark. So I pour it in there. And that's it. Now I'm going to set the tripod up and then show you how it's done. Okay, hold on. Alright, so I think that's a good enough angle that you can get the point. Let me move this back. I can kind of see what I'm doing. So I just have my cookie sheets here. I grab a stack of papers, put them next to the thing. Just grab your sheet of paper. Now when this paper gets wet, it's gonna be very fragile. So if you have very long nails, and there's the oven going off, it's heated up, you're gonna want to not jab it. So what I do is I just lay it on top in this container and I kind of just push it down. And if you like all the crinklies, you can see the paper's puckering. I just kind of squish it with my fingers and that'll give it where the coffee lays on it. Then you carefully grab it by the corners because it'll rip. And just shake it off and just lay it. Don't spread it out, just toss it on your cookie sheet. I only do like 2 or 3. If you stack them on top of each other, they don't bake right. So I get kind of 2 cookie sheets. And, if you just want it really slightly dyed, don't do the puckers. Make sure you get your corners and just carefully pick it up. You're going to get some tears, that's fine. It kind of gives, and I kind of just lay the paper upright. Kind of like that. I don't flatten it out because it takes longer to bake. So basically that's it. I hope you can kind of see what I'm doing. Getting the corners and then just carefully lift it out. And I'll put another one on top of this one. Just kind of like that, where it's kind of resting up so the hot air gets under it. from the oven. I don't know, you know, oven times are different. They bake different. My oven tends to bake quicker and warmer than normally. But you're just really drying the paper and it should be fine. I wouldn't recommend leaving it and walking away. But it only takes like maybe 10 minutes. Just keep checking it. You'll know when it's dry. It'll crisp up. And so see how I'm just kind of tossing it right on the... If you want a little more of the wrinkly look, like just kind of scrunch it with your fingers a bit. And that'll put the wrinkles in the paper. And you can already see that it's gotten in those creases. So if you want more of a wrinkled where the coffee gets in there, that's what I suggest, is just kind of very so gently, just kind of push it with your fingers. You'll see how fragile the paper is. See how it made more wrinkles? Okay, let me dry my hands. And now I will just put it in the oven. My oven's on 400. Put it in the oven. I do 2 cookie sheets, bottom rack, it doesn't matter. Ta-da. Now we'll wait like, I don't know, probably 10 minutes in there, if that. And then I'll show you how to iron them. So I don't even think it's been 10 minutes, but like I said, I got my temperature on 400. And you can kind of take the top layers of paper off, see how they curl up. And if the bottom ones are still wet, which these are not, because I got it on 400. So I just take them off, but you can see, look at how the coffee is standing up on those. So I just toss them and set them aside. I will get out a mitt and take the pan out. Alright, toss that on the counter and look at that. Cool, huh? These ones I scrunched up a little more like that. So these are done. I just set them there. And it's kind of like doing cookies. You know, you just toss your papers to the side and start again. Put a new batch in. But see how they're real dry and crispy and they pucker up, and that's why I kind of iron them. If you can see on these over here, these ones I just kind of dipped in really quickly when I did it. And so I don't have a lot of, so it's really your preference on how stained up and tattered you want it to look. And you can see where the other paper's laid on top and did that square stuff. So it just, no 2 papers are ever going to look the same. But it just gives it that dry. Now these are cool, so what I'll cooled off, so I'll just go over and iron them. Look at that. Awesome, huh? And now it steamed up my pan. So then what I'll do is I'll just keep doing batches. It really doesn't take that long. Maybe spend a half hour, get yourself a good collection, and keep it in your craft room for future projects. All right, let me set this tripod up and I'll iron. I'm holding the tripod. Ta-da! All right, so then I usually just iron last. Like I'll clean it up. Let me. I got my tester iron. Yeah, so I just iron the paper out. And some of your edges might break off. That's totally fine. It doesn't totally get the wrinkles out. If you really want that, you could probably splash some water on it. I'm going to show you. See where it says Food Network? The FOO. Wait, where? Yeah. But I think it's cool. And this edge kind of ripped off. But it's cool. So I ironed both sides. Just to kind of get it flattened back out. It doesn't, it stays weird. That's fine. And I just have my iron on like the highest dry setting that there is. I don't iron clothes, I'll tell you that. I don't iron much, but when I do, it's definitely for crafting. Because if clothing needs ironed, I don't buy it. So see, it doesn't get it perfect, but when you make your books or journals, you just fold the paper right in half, which I don't iron the crease in it because I don't want to break the fibers down on the paper. But when you stack a bunch of them up and just fold them in half, I usually fold them all. I poked my finger through that one. But yeah, so then it will make your book. And you can sew it or bind it any way you want. But there's your coffee dyed papers. Yeah, so it's really your preference on how crinkly you want to get that stain on there. I think if you use tea or iced tea or something, you won't get it as dark. And maybe if you don't want it that dark, you could maybe put your coffee in a spritz bottle and just spray your papers lightly. I like mine really vintagey looking. It just adds so much interest and coolness. Now, I would recommend storing these. Like if you're not going to use them in a project, you're just going to make a bunch of papers. I would probably flatten, I wouldn't store them creased. I would store them all flat and put something heavy on them and just store them that way. And then you'll have your stash. But yeah, real cool. And that's basically it, guys. It's really easy, something to do on a rainy day. And get a collection of coffee dyed papers. Let me just try something real quick. I just threw a tiny bit of splash of water on here to see how the steam does it. But see, it makes your paper too fragile again. Ooh, it smells good. It smells like coffee. So yeah, if you want to get it really flat. Actually, if you spray it with a little water, it puts more wrinkles in the paper that are not. So if you really want to do that, you can use your steam on your iron. It got that flat, but it's, you know, let it dry a little more. So you could do it both ways. I kind of like the dry, crunchy way the paper does. Alright, so look at that. That's like one signature right there that you would bind, and I wrap other paper over it, and then look how cool. Alright, so there's my little tutorial on coffee dyeing papers. I hope you like that, and I hope you give it a try. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, but what I don't recommend you doing while you're doing this is trying to cook grilled cheese while you're coffee dyeing your papers, because this is what you will end up with. These were the 2 top loaves of the bread, and I burnt the crap out of it. I didn't even smell it. So I took them off, and the other side was still good. So I took it off and just put a new piece of bread. But I guarantee you my husband will eat this. He will eat it. So anyways, yeah, tomato soup and grilled cheese. Don't do it while you're coffee dyeing your papers, because you will get that result. All right, take care, everybody. Bye. There's the burnt sandwich. Well, I told you I was going to eat it. Not one complaint. And I'm actually a good cook. That's why I married this man, because I could feed him anything and he wouldn't care. As long as I didn't make anything go to waste. How's that sandwich?
Fine. Are you taking a picture of me or videoing?
Videoing you. Is it good?
Yeah, why do you got it all cockamamie? You got the front on this side and this side. This side's all screwed up.
That's how I roll. Alright, so there you go. There's the finished product. I finished all of them. Look how nice and puffy and light the papers are. I didn't edge any any of these edges or anything. It's strictly coffee dyed. And this is how you turn this white paper into this. And they're all different. And this is 37 sheets of paper. I didn't set out to do any number. I just used whatever coffee I had until it ended. So there you go.